if it isn't my favorite time of the month. It smells just like home. God, I love this game. I'm so good at it. Detective, happy to see me? You're looking lovelier than ever. Although a bit tired. Don't tell me you've been pulling all-nighters again, tracking my activities. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to be the reason you're up all night, but I'd prefer to play a more active and intimate role. Thanks for sending that car for me, by the way. I feel so special, riding up front, chatting with your partner. Who knew there could be a silver lining in your car getting totaled by a semi? Though, I wish you'd be more mindful of my wants and needs on other matters. Ooh, that's new. Disabled the cameras, did we now? Can't have it documented what you're about to do to me? Is that even legal? Well, detective, I can't say I'm not curious to see what depraved things you have planned. And who's to say I won't be into it? And there it is. Gosh, I love your little nicknames for me. They're so endearing. When should we go official? I mean, the precinct already knows about your major obsession with me. And that time you dragged me out of my house, half naked for highway robbery, was a bit incriminating for your little crush, don't you think? I think it's high time we sit down, clear this table off, and get to... Ow! Detective, I hope you're not this rough with handcuffs in other contexts. Wait, no. Actually, that's kind of hot. Would you mind doing that again? I mean, you make it too easy, detective. Getting you all riled up. I'm used to our little song and dance by now. Something goes wrong in the town. You drag me in, throw truly baseless accusations backed by flimsy evidence at me. Maybe once in a blue moon we'll go to court, but ultimately, I walk free. Now, what do you say we skip all that nonsense and get to a new chapter in our relationship? A whole new, hot, heavy, sensual chapter? The only thing I'm guilty of is stealing that heart of yours. Diamonds? Now, what on earth are diamonds? Oh, come on. Does that really sound like me? A bit on the nose as far as criminal masterminds go, don't you think? I'd spring for something a little bit more inspired than diamond robbery. It seems to me you should be on the lookout for some cartoon villain twirling his little mustache instead. Okay, Batman. Where were you the night of the robbery? Come on, detective. Save that voice for the bedroom. Seriously? How are people even supposed to remember what they were doing at such a specific time anyways? Can you even remember what you were doing that night? Well, then, detective, I'll have you know that between the hours of 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. last Thursday night, I was at my book club. Aw, now, detective, see? That hurts. You don't believe me? Don't I seem intellectual? Don't I seem well-read? I have to say, I love the company. The old ladies are such dears. A bit stuck up at times, but I mean, with as much money as they have, I'd be judgmental too. But the real treat is all the wonderful books they choose. Gone Girl, The Black Dahlia, The Poet. I really relate to that last one in particular. Oh, stop your bristling. What I meant was, I write my own poems. Here, let me recite one. There once lived a detective so blessed, a rogue they thought to strongly best, wound up so tight, they struggled all night, when they could have had mind-blowing. Ah! Hey! If you didn't like it, you should have just said so. Here, I'll try another one. I would beg, crawl, and lick. Okay. I'm done. But did you get it? See where I was going with that? See, I was going to rhyme lick with but detective. You never want to play anymore. It's always, who are your accomplices? You won't get away with this. And take off all your clothes. And, oh, wait, no. No, that last one was part of a truly wonderful, reoccurring dream I have. You know, maybe I'd be a tad bit more cooperative if you told me a bit more about yourself. Like, what's your first name? Do you like Italian food? Are you free Friday night? Yeah, the diamonds. What if I said I was going to donate them to charity? Make shiny earrings for orphans? Or a dazzling present just for you? Yeah, you're right. I'll just stick to my original statement then. What are diamonds? No, that store name isn't ringing any bells. Hingle & Co? It kind of sounds like a vendor from one of the clients I used to audit for. But seriously, it sounds like something you'd cough up. Sounds like one of those hoity-toity shops that's so pretentious it offers climate control conditions for rocks. I bet they fainted, clenching their 1 degree warmer pearls during that outage last week. I wouldn't set foot in a place like that, and I never have. You can double check that with them. Isn't this a bit out of the ordinary for what you usually accuse me of? Don't you have a criminal profile you've built for me or something? You know, something of reference to construct a believable MO? Wow, you are obsessed with me. I mean, I knew to some degree the extent of it, but this is seriously some next level stalker stuff, detective. Can I have a look? I'm a big fan of your work. Let's see. School records. I see you circled some of my grades in my major. Ironic, isn't it? Knowing my strong suits and that we have so much chemistry. Really? Not even a smile? I may as well be Phosphorus 32, living only a half-life in the shadow of your scorn. Looks like you also nabbed some old resumes too. Ugh, boring. Industrial and environmental engineering are so not as sexy as I make it look. Tracing soil erosion, sediment movement, gas leaks. Not exactly a turn on for most people, but I try. And medical records? Okay, creepy. Are you really that into blood types? Trying to gauge our compatibility or something? And here they are. Mugshots. My favorite part. I almost expected our initials inscribed in little hearts to be doodled on the back of these. Kiss marks on the photos, a whole shebang. Okay, I'll bite. If you answer which mugshot is your favorite, I'll try to seriously answer any and all of your questions. That one? Really? But you can barely see my face under all the bruising and swelling. Oh, ha ha, detective. You're so mean. So what's your question then? Asking, where did you hide the diamonds will elicit the same response as, how did you steal the diamonds? Dear, I don't have them. Oh, is that for me? Really, detective? You didn't have to send for tea. Wait, detective, are you... Well, that's just rude. I really hope this was heated up at least in a kettle or on a stove. Detective, you may be fine with consuming whatever zero nutrition, ready in 5 minutes TV dinners that you get stuffed in the back of your ancient freezer. But some of us are trying to reduce our microwave usage. Gotta monitor that radiation exposure, right? Ugh, my pants are soaking now. I'll just let that one hang there. Not that I have any inside information on this case, because that would be crazy, right? But I have this little feeling that you have the usual amount or quantity of evidence against me. Am I right? Oh, fun. Pleading the fifth. Can I read you your Miranda rights? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Damn. That felt real good to be on the other side of that for once. Now I see why you're always on your little tirades. That's an absolute power trip. Wow. Well, since you insist on withholding that classified information, can I take a guess as to what the police do have right now? Let's see. You already asked about my whereabouts during a specific window, so you clearly already have a time of occurrence puzzled out, which I'm so sorry to say, I have alibis for every hour of every day for the past 2 weeks. The precinct looks a little too staffed today, so I'm willing to bet that no other suspects have been pinned down or brought in. So no accomplices linked back to me, huh? And from what I saw on the level of activity here and mannerisms of your partner, no solid leads have been found yet. He's a good dude, Friendly, talkative, a bit cagey when I tried to bring you up, though. A shame, really. I wanted to see if he had any good info on you, your preferences, maybe even a cute photo or two. Detective, you don't have to be so defensive. I promise, you're still my favorite. After all, I'm still trying to discover those special techniques of yours that can make this jailbird sing. Anyways, other guesses that might not be as obvious? I don't think you found any evidence of a break-in at the scene of a crime. Probably couldn't find any prints, compromised points, or any other form of breaching or interference that I can only assume was a guarded, fortified, state-of-the-art safe. And the security footage probably backs up this utter lack of diamond shenaniganry. Am I right? Oh, and the jeweler and the client? I'm willing to bet they're safe and accounted for, with alibis as well as no trace of harm or temperament, psychological or otherwise. So, I'll flip the question on you, detective. What do you think I supposedly did? Silence again. I really wish you'd stop doing that. Your voice is like a siren song to my ears, but it's often so quiet I can barely hear it, even if you're admonishing me. That's alright though. I'm sure I can get you to scream my name soon enough. But really, detective, best precinct in the state, top of your class, and you really have no ideas? This place is funded to the nines, for goodness sakes. Practically with all the trappings of a mini Pentagon. Nuclear tracers, portable mass specs. Don't you have a little bomb diffusing robot guy too? Damn, I'd love to play with that thing. But I'm getting off topic, aren't I? So, in summary, you have nothing, a sparkling nothing, a dazzling nothing, and what was it again? Ah, yes. A whole load of piping hot, ready to eat, probably heated up in the microwave. Nothing. Detective, this is more embarrassing than the time you busted down the doors to my demo teaching lab in an attempt to arrest me for making illegal substances. I mean, just because it's clear doesn't mean it's crystal meth. Gosh, do you remember that? The look on your face was priceless when you realized that with just a little bit of a temperature increase and a slight tweak in humidity, your precious bust that you spent months tailing me for was all for nothing. A harmless experiment meant to teach children about sublimation. Didn't you get in a whole lot of trouble with your sergeant too? Had to form a formal apology and everything to me? I loved watching you squirm as you asked for my forgiveness. Though, I was a bit sad that you were ordered to not interact with me anymore. Is that why the cameras are off? Am I not even supposed to be here with you? Is this our little secret? Oh, detective, don't even worry about it. You know I'd always be down to do something a little naughty with you. Aw, don't be so hurtful, just because I can do this so much better than you. See, let's just pretend I stole them. For prosperity's sake. How would I even do that? It's not like I, knew the exact details of when the jewelry would be presented to the client. How could I? I mean, one would have to have inside knowledge of the client's pickup time and date. And for that to even happen, Some hotshot would have to first find a client wealthy enough to even buy something of that value. Drop subtle hints of the types of shops around town that are even capable of that kind of order. They'll orchestrate a whole meeting between the dealer and the client. Maybe even tamper with certain delivery dates for their own convenience. This is random, but was the client set to pick up the piece a bit earlier than expected? But I mean, seriously, who could have done that? And then there's a matter of the discovery. Looks like you didn't find anything concrete at the crime scene, but you find officers were still able to pin an exact date and time of the robbery. Since the client had a try-on beforehand, it's almost as if the diamonds were stolen in transit, replaced with some special compound with the clarity of high-quality diamonds that dissolves under specific atmospheric and chemical conditions, then made it into the final piece, only disappearing into thin air once the robber was ready. So, really, you should be looking into the vehicle that transported their jewels in the first place. Oh, but wasn't there an accident a couple of days ago that involved some sort of truck and a poor civilian car? That's such a shame. Hope it isn't related to anything. But, detective, this is all speculation, of course. Do I sound capable enough to pull all of that off? Aw, there, detective. You'll have your moment someday. I'm sure you'll get what you deserve soon enough. Now, am I free to go? Or are you just dying for a bit more company? A bit more of my time and faith? Oh, you're right. I guess that does leave the question of where the real diamonds are. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Well, detective, I think whoever mastermind is behind this wouldn't have them at all. I'm serious. Whoever did this has probably gotten away with dozens of crimes in the past. Why would they keep millions worth of dollars of practically illiquid hot contraband on them? Sounds like such a hassle. Unless the robber is using the diamond for something else. Something a bit more satisfying, like, let's say they were absolutely in love with a certain detective and just wanted to give them a little present. Maybe they knew from the start, through their past work experience, that the mining company that works with the jewelry shop was implementing experimental methods of tracking using nuclear isotope half-lives that died off after a half period was reached, and following radiation trails should anything bad happen to the gems. But the robber, they'd have to be an expert on industry-specific methods of handling these isotopes, particularly to safeguard their health. Any normal person would be none the wiser to these techniques. So any normal person couldn't have possibly pulled this off, right? And that detective? Well, that detective is just a bit too high-strung and squirrely for the liking of the other officers in his precinct. Who would blame them, really? In this fast-paced, sophisticated facility that houses so many gadget goodies. Unrelated, but do you know if anyone's checked out that high-tech portable nuclear tracer? Maybe they're just a little too tired to have noticed strange things happening around their sketchy apartment on, and this is just a crazy guess, 4th and Brighton? Really suspiciously tired and sick. I do hope they're taking care of themselves and not unknowingly exposing themselves to any danger. Oh, and we can't forget about their obsession and hostility towards a particular innocent, law-abiding citizen. They've been called in on multiple occasions for psychological evaluations already, haven't they? And so maybe it's not so unbelievable that our detective, our tired, irritable, normal detective, had pulled this off at all. At least, that's what everyone else would think. Tell me, detective, do you have a soft spot for jewelry?
Detective, we're gonna need you to step out the room. We got some questions we need to ask you.
I didn't think it was possible to be more attracted to you. But I gotta say, falsely accused has never looked better.